Hello, I just want to welcome you in second week and just go over a few things to make sure that you're established on what we're doing. Because Greek is, it's something as a study or a discipline that is not like other subjects like history or geography in my view. What you have to do is not leave it where you can actually read a book or read something online or read some notes, then go back to it and start doing an essay and finish it and move on. And maybe you have 5 days to a week where you don't touch it for a while. You can't do that with Greek. You have to do it every day. And my sort of regimen was always something like an hour to an hour and a half every day, no matter what. I would do that because what you're doing is you're building blocks along the way. Every single time you come to study it, you build it up by rote memorization. So at the end of the course, when you do an exam, you've actually done really all the study that's there. And at this point, it's sort of laborious in one sense because you have to learn all these paradigms, nouns and verbs. You have to have a basic understanding of English grammar, and then you translate that as you look at the Greek. And then gradually what happens is as you build these things from knowing what they are by memorization, then as you apply it and you get into elementary translation, you start to get some confidence because you see the meaning that's inherent within the text itself, that relates to all our systematization of doctrines and so on, the doctrines that you accept, that you don't accept, that you have doubts about. Ultimately, in my view, they're all anchored in the exegesis of the New Testament from the standpoint of Christology and theology as we understand it in terms of what Christ has done for us. So it's really important then to get down to this grassroots level of understanding what the text is. And to do that, initially at this stage, I just want to encourage you to be rigorous in your approach to it. I'm not an expert in Greek in the sense of a grammarian who spent 30 years studying the language in such depth that I know the etymology of all the main words, etc. No, I don't do that. I haven't done that. I'm a generalist in that sense. Because I wanted to get to where I am, which is I wanted to do exegesis from that standpoint. But I know what to do to survive, and I know how to actually then get into the elements in which I can connect with lexicographers and grammarians in respect to the etymology of the words, its morphology and so on, of how to go forward, understand its origin and the Septuagint and Koine Greek and so on, and how it develops. So at this standpoint, I'm a pragmatist. I'm able to read in Hebrew and Greek and German and French and Latin. I had to do that for my PhD. French was easy because it's got so many cognates that are in English and the word order is basically the same. German was much more difficult for me. But I knew again what to do, and I learned it from studying Greek. And that's what I want to impress upon you, because we're into our second week now. And you've got two elements. Really, there isn't what I'd call much grammar this week for us to do beyond, understanding accents, and we don't have to go that in any real detail. Really understanding accents from the standpoint of their origin in respect to pitch and so on, and the subjectivity in respect to where the accents are placed, and obviously what they sound like, what the words sound like. But they're functional for us in the sense of grave accent or an acute accent, circumflex, give us an idea on what syllable to stress. So it's basically this week, it's what? It's, what is the word that Mounce uses? Syllabification, I think, yes. Which helps a lot in the actual articulation and remembering Greek, because you just basically pronounce the syllables and then string them all together and so on. Synagogue, synagogue, and so on. And a lot of the words that you come across this week are basic, that you know them just generally, I think, just theologically. Parabole and so on, of course, theos, psyche, soul, and so on. But there's some that you don't. Perhaps cardia, heart. So the way that I learned that a generation ago was to picture a doctor, and I looked at the doctor, and I looked at the doctor's physique, and that he or she had a heart that was made out of cardboard. So whenever I would look at that person, I would see them with a stethoscope, and I would see them that they had a cardboard heart. Obviously, if you saw somebody like that, you'd remember it. Well, that's the whole purpose of it. So I would look and I would make that association. I get it. This word then, cardia, cardboard, a doctor, etc., heart. And what happens after a while is that the image fades very quickly, and you just make the connection between what the word means. And the good thing, although we do one or two exercises in respect the other way around, when you think about it in Greek, you're in a situation where you're not given the English word and then you have to remember the Greek word. It's the other way around. So when we look at translation, we get the Greek word there. And the good news is then that all the codes that make up that word and that phrase, and we will see sentences, are all contained right there before you that you can see. So it's really a question of just unlocking them. Unlocking the grammatical forms and learning the Greek structure and how it's based upon the idea of the verb and the prefix and suffix of nouns that gives you and verbs in respect that gives you the case, the number, the gender, and so forth. We'll get to all that. At this point, I just want to emphasize then the element of learning the vocabulary. And looking over in the last couple of weeks, what I would do is I would simply highlight the chapter in yellow marker or whatever, and then every week as we build on our chapters, just spend 10 minutes just going through each chapter with the main points that you've marked, just to bring it up before you all the time so that you can keep on learning. And it's sort of like a bit like spinning plates, like you see these magicians with these spinning plates, and you go over to this plate and you've got to do this plate here. It's a bit like that. You learn new stuff every week. I had to learn 2 chapters a week a generation ago, and I was doing this with a different book. Really, you have it all there for you, because Mounce has got all the work that he's done in terms of the DVD, then the grammar I have here, the workbook, the flashcards. It's all there, and I'm sort of like a guide on the side. Anything way that I can help you, let me know. Anything that's difficult or that you find cumbersome or that you have a question about. And what I will do is I try and give you what I call 3-minute helpers, 3-minute videos. I don't want to give you an hour's lecture. You've already got that with Mounce. But if I can just provide 3 minutes, I try and keep it to 3 minutes. It's frequently not that. But it's not very much. It won't be more than 6 or 7, because I don't want to take away from the work that you have to do with Mounce. But also I want you to know that I'm available to help you. And then if you have any problems, and maybe the problems could be for everyone in the sense that I could provide another video or a resource, etc., as I write to you either personally or as we go through the material in our sort of chat room, in our forum on a weekly basis. So you've got it for this week in terms of what we're doing in this 4th chapter. And the main thing is then you've absorbed the alphabet, the vowels, so on, different increases in terms of how vowels and consonants work together in terms of forming syllables and forming words and so on. And then you've got the vocabulary, which I suggest even the advanced words that Mounce mentions, the other words are fairly easy to learn off. I'd learn off the whole of the words in chapter 4. All right, thank you.